Really? I'm
Yeah,
not
I
big.
haven't watched the TV show because I just have no interest in any
No.
sequels to Watchmen, and the things I've heard about it make it sound not very good.
It looks
It's
terrible too.
yeah.
Just from a production value
But
standpoint, it's bad.
I'm telling you, the Watchmen movie was perfect. It outdid the comic because there was no big dumb.
No,
No, it
There was
didn't
no
outdo the
giant
comic.
squid. There was
It
no
wasn't
giant.
perfect,
There was no
but it was
giant
good.
octopus. It made more sense to blame it on Doctor Manhattan than a giant
it
damn.
didn't make more sense to blame it on Doctor Manhattan.
It
Doctor
did.
Manhattan was solidly on the U.S.'s side, so there's no reason to think he would.
Energy signature. It makes more sense than a big dumb octopus, man. Come on.
The octopus. Well, part of it is that it seems improbable that the giant octopus would actually work. It's a huge gamble. It's whether it's going to work or not, and it's a neutral entity. It's not. It's not. Doctor Manhattan was solidly on the U.S.'s side. He crushed Vietnam. Why would the Soviets have any reason to
He's
think
all
that
powerful.
he's a neutral?
He's all powerful, so he could shift alliances or change his mind. And who's going to try to stop him? Okay,
But he
that's
doesn't. That's the whole thing. Is
they don't
Doctor
know that
Manhattan
though.
thinks that everything is inevitable, so he
Everybody's
doesn't do
afraid.
anything.
Everybody's afraid to
I mean,
incur
it's
his
like the
wrath.
scene where it's like a comedian shoots the pregnant Vietnamese woman. Like he could have done anything to stop it, and he didn't.
That was the comedian.
He could have. Yes, and Doctor
Oh,
Manhattan was there. He could have easily stopped it, but he didn't. And the comedian points that out.
yeah,
So
yeah,
Doctor
yeah.
Manhattan, his omnipotence is it either is limited to a point, or it's just he's just so indifferent to human suffering that he's just doesn't do anything. I mean, that's
He
practically
addresses
stated. He
that
comes out
later.
and says, no, at the beginning, he comes right out and says that, a living body and a dead body have the same number of molecules, so there's no real difference.
But he also addresses it directly later, I think to Sally Jupiter or something, and he says, "I can change, anything in the universe, but I can't change human behavior." Right?
I don't think he
So
says that.
I think he does. I really think he does, man. Can we get a Watchmen expert or something in here to confirm? Because
I'd have to go get the comic off my shelf. I'm not going to do that. But either
I
way,
know
I think one of
said
the,
in the movie.
I
He
mean,
said in the movie.
one of the worst things he does, or Zack Snyder did with that movie, was how he treated Silk Spectre. I mean, it's pretty obvious he just doesn't know how to handle female characters, and he
She was
sucker punches
fine.
proof of
She
that.
had an arc. She had a
She was
story.
terrible. Her arc was completely downplayed, and she was a non-entity in the movie.
Dude, he hit every plot point of her story arc. I don't know what more you want. I
He
mean,
didn't hit every plot point.
he was
She's barely there. It's like she has the beats there, but as a delivery, she's a non-entity.
she's dissatisfied with her marriage to Dr. Manhattan. She meets up with Night Owl again and rekindles that relationship. Let's see. They get into a fight, and only then can they really get their juices going. She
That's not
clashes.
her main storyline. Her main
She
storyline involves
clashes
her
with her
mother
mother. She
and the
clashes with her
comedian being
mother.
her father.
That's in there. All of it's in
It's
there.
in there, but it's played terribly.
But it's played exactly like the comic.
That's not. I mean, it's like saying that the Gus Van Sant version of Psycho is just as good because it's a shot-for-shot remake. It
Did Gus
doesn't
Van Sant
work
do
in the same
Psycho?
way.
Did Gus
What?
did Gus Van
Yeah,
Sant?
he's the one. Yeah, he's the one who did the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho.
I'm not muffled, by the way, am I?
No.
He's
Okay.
not fine.
So Gregor, why don't you weigh in on this? We've argued about this plenty of times, but neither one of us is going to concede an inch on this. I firmly am in the camp that Watchmen is one of the greatest comic movies ever, and he thinks that Silk Spectre was not done justice. You've read the comic and seen the movie, right?
Yeah, I have, and I really can't say whether or not Silk Spectre's story was handled properly in the film. I mean, I saw the movie once. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I have not watched it twice, so I don't really, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not generally one to watch movies twice. I've considered watching isn't there like an expanded version that even has like the pirate comic book
The
piece?
Tale of the Black Freighter. Yeah.
Has anybody seen that?
I
I
haven't
have.
seen that, no, but that's apparently an animated thing.
I
Yeah.
have, but I mean, I think it needs to be watched separately because it would interrupt the flow of the movie. So I kind of watched it separately from the movie when I got it, But
So with the extended
Yeah.
version, though, doesn't the extended version have more non-comic, the non-Legend of the Black Pearl or whatever it's called,
as far as I
I
know, it
don't.
just has the Legend of the Black Freighter or whatever.
Freighter or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a cut that intersperses it, but I do know like it was a extra on like the DVD, and it was like for a while it was like a separate short film that was like available
Okay,
elsewhere.
I thought there was like an extended version that had it all sliced in there and more scenes too to the main storyline. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
there's a Snyder cut of Watchmen. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I can think of like other small things like the way Rorschach is handled, and
What's wrong with
uh,
Rorschach?
well, I mean, I think Zach kind of frames him too much as heroic, which is definitely misses the point of the comic. There's the the storyline with the psychiatrist. I don't like that was downplayed because I thought that was much a very important part of the story. I I don't like the way he changed uh, the way the death, the way that his first like brutal murder is, like where he just hacks the guy with a butcher knife. I don't understand
I
why he
think that
changed that.
isn't that how it happened in the comic though.
No,
He
what he does in the comic is he handcuffs the guy to like a radiator or something, and then he gives him a hacksaw and sets the house on fire.
you
They're
know
basically telling him like you're probably not gonna be able to get through the handcuffs in time, so you'll have to cut off your hand, and then nobody comes out when he stands outside.
isn't the I don't remember if the lesbians at the beginning of the movie are in the comic or not. I think they are, but isn't it
Yeah,
rumored
that's another thing. It's a
Rorschach
they're
may have
mentioning.
killed them or something, right?
No, it was it's explicitly stated in the comic. It was one of I can't remember the name of the superheroine, but it was one of her old nemesis who just tracked her down and killed her and her lover. I really hate how that was um, put in the movie, like them laying there in the lingerie with the lesbian whores written blood above it. It kind of it's kind of indicative of Zack Snyder's sort of frat boy idea of what edgy is.
I think Zack Snyder is an exceptional guy, comic movie guy. I think the
I mean,
Justice.
he's not terrible when it comes to visuals, but he really needs an actual like writer
Hmm.
because his ideas of
I
like
agree with
what
that.
because like a Sucker Punch which was like his auteur movie, it fucking sucks.
I think the Justice League Snyder cut was far overblown. Like it was cool, but it was schizophrenic toward the end when Joker and Deathstroke are teamed up with like Batman and Mira from Aquaman and Cyborg, and they're it's like Darkseid has already conquered the Earth, and Martian Manhunter shows up in the. It was all of like a vision of the future, and then back in the present, Martian Manhunter shows up and says, "Hey, Batman, I'm on your side. Your parents would be proud." It was real schizophrenic towards the end, I think.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Snyder cut. I watched the original Justice League, and it wasn't as bad as Batman v Superman, but it was a pretty good indication that this DC cinematic universe shit was not going to work out.
Well, are you talking about the Whedon version you saw?
Yeah, that wasn't very good.
Well, I don't think it was any worse than the Snyder cut, but the Snyder cut was longer and probably more fan servicey, which
I know that at least they probably got rid of Whedon's soy dialogue in the Snyder cut because that was completely out of place in the Justice League movie.
I'll say it again. Why Steppenwolf? Why not just throw Darkseid in there immediately? I don't get that, man.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if they were going to work up to Darkseid, but Steppenwolf, I didn't even know Steppenwolf. It'd make more sense if they had Granny Goodness as the villain.
Ew, no.
Or Martian Manhunter.
What,
Martian
Martian Manhunter?
Manhunter,
He's a
he
good
was
guy.
never a villain.
He's never a villain? I thought
No,
he was a
he's a
villain
good guy.
first.
Not unless he was
No, he's
under mind control.
Oh,
no. As
okay. I
far
thought he
as
was a villain first, but I don't really care
no,
about DC all that much, so I don't really
Okay.
know.
Well,
no. His
okay.
whole backstory is that he's the last Martian.
Okay, well, what about
He's hunting men.
what about Marvel with Loki? Has anybody watched the new Loki series?
Yeah, I've seen the
No.
first 2 episodes of it. It's
You
pretty
don't.
weak.
Well, I call bullshit on the creators saying that reference to the devil on the stained glass window, saying that's not a nod to Mephisto. I call bullshit on that. They should have never put it in there if it's not a direct reference to Mephisto. Damn it, I'm sick of them playing around with this on the Mephisto thing. You know, he should have been in WandaVision, and he should be in Loki now. I mean, you know, Loki versus Mephisto, I think people would go nuts for that.
No,
Hey,
because Marvel can only do the whatever the protagonist is, and it's like the protagonist and the antagonist are the same person, or they have the same powers almost in every single property of this Marvel universe, right? I mean, it's pretty weak, you know.
Hmm.
It's like there's very few exceptions to the rule of whoever the good guy is just battling a bad guy version that's just an exact copy of whoever the good guy is. I mean, it's pretty weak.
Hey, here's something funny. Did you know that Disney is going around and taking down a lot of stuff related to Loki? And you may be saying, like, oh, what, the Marvel Loki? They have the right to do that. No, like anything related to the actual mythological character Loki.
Oh, really?
They can't
Fuck
copyright
Disney.
Myth. They can copyright the Marvel Loki.
They're damn sure gonna try to.
Yeah, you can't copyright something from a dissolved ancient culture. Damn it! This is
They're gonna try to. Fucking
Yeah.
Disney is the devil. We should have never given them our money.
I heard
Yeah,
that
so-
Disney is going to buy WWE. Now, I don't watch WWE because I mean the shows have gotten so lazy and horrible. But I heard
you know how they talk about like going back and killing Hitler in the cradle. Someone needs to go back and kill Walt Disney in the cradle.
Oh, wait a minute! I got to show that thing that you made.
So what have they taken down that's Loki related? That's not
Like
Disney
apparently,
Loki related.
Apparently, like as far as I can tell, stuff on Etsy and things like that.
What?
Like stuff on Etsy and things like that.
Oh, really? They're trying to
Yeah.
say that they have the copyright of Loki, the god character or whatever.
They're not like explicitly saying that, but they're just kind of saying, "Oh, this Loki thing is actually the Loki from Marvel," but even though it's clearly not.
Oh, really?
So they're kind of bullshitting.
So I guess the overwhelming favorite in this battle here would be Jan Svankmajer.
Who's that?
Yeah, I would take Jan Svankmajer over Walt Disney any day.
Who's
He did.
Jan Svankmajer?
He does a lot of claymation stuff and like Alice and Faust, right? What else?
Yeah, he's a Czechoslovakian animator. He works a lot in stop motion. Yeah, Alice is probably his most famous film, his adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. He's done a version of Faust, which is pretty funny. Another good movie of his is Conspirators of Pleasure, which is like it's like a messed up erotica movie.
I want to see that. Yeah, I've never been able to find it anywhere, but yeah, I want to see it.
I watched that a long time ago.
I know who this guy is now. Yeah. I'm looking at some images from his films. Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna go with Walt Disney on this one because
I mean, it's not really a
it's
comparison,
kind of
really. I mean,
it's kind of a joke. It comes from a song lyric I heard that it was a rap song that has the lyrics: "These kids can't rank higher. This is Walt Disney versus Jan Svankmajer."
Okay.
We got to have at least one crossover every episode. But I mean, I was, Aladdin and Lion King were so influential, in my formative years that I kind of got to give the edge to Walt Disney just because I didn't discover Svankmajer's or whatever's films until like my teenage years when I was like, bored and looking for something weird, intentionally. So, but I mean, Aladdin and Lion King still connect me to my childhood. So I'm going to have to go with that on this one, you know.
So have you watched the Loki, or are you just talking about just
I
what you read
saw,
on the internet or something?
yeah, I watched episode 1, and I saw the devil on the stained glass window, and I immediately thought Mephisto. And anybody who knows anything about the Marvel universe would think Mephisto. And for them to tease us and say it, no, it's not what you think. That's bullshit, man. I don't care what they say. And Mojo should have been in WandaVision, if nothing else, because she was in like a
Yeah, I mean, and they just did the same thing they do in almost every single one of their things, right? Where they've got, Iron Man versus Ironmonger, right? And then the WandaVision thing was a witch versus a witch. You know what I mean? It's always the same, right? They've just got the villain is just a carbon copy of whatever the hero is, right?
And Black Panther versus Killmonger.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost every, there are a few exceptions, of course, right?
Well,
But, almost every single property is like that. And this one is the same thing. It's Loki versus Loki.
I love the concept of the time variance authority, though.
I don't.
It fits in with my view of fiction as a whole.
I know you like that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. And how he says the line, the Owen Wilson character says the line that we make sure that time goes in a straight line every time. It has to continue back and through a straight line again or something like that. And I thought, yes, that makes total sense to me.
I mean, I think the program is. I mean, I think that the talent on screen is wasted. But the writers that have been hired to write this kind of suck, and also the concept can never be good, right? Like this time, anything that has to do with time, like it never makes any sense really for the most part. And the people that are hired for this particular program aren't up to the task to even make it even close to making sense. It's just all entirely nonsensical. Nothing makes sense that happens in this show.
Speaking of time, Avengers Endgame. Peter Parker goes back to school, and it's been 5 years since the vanishing.
Right, it's the blip.
And his schoolmates are still there. I don't know about that. That's a plot hole.
No, right? I mean they are. I mean they did that okay, right? Like,
if it's a senior year, if he gets to skip ahead to a senior year, I guess, or he's has to. I
mean, it wasn't like it was. They tried to address it. I guess is my point. Is what I'm saying.
We had to repeat the school year over thing, right?
Yeah, they tried to address it or whatever, but I mean, it wasn't. I mean, the entire blip thing. They didn't really do a great job of addressing that in general, I suppose. I mean, I think it would have been almost as chaotic or as crippling to the world as the actual disappearance of the people, right? When everybody came back, right? Yeah. I mean, people would, reappear in thin air, right? They were traveling in a airliner or something, They just
anybody who replaced them, they'd have to compete with them for them to get their spot back or whatever, in a job.
Right. Yeah.
It'd be crazy. And there was a very small detail where the whales would come closer to the pier because there were fewer humans around. That's mentioned in that one meeting where Captain America is a counselor or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I thought that was a fantastic little detail, that the whales actually come and sing, or do their whale songs or whatever, because there are fewer humans and they're not as scared,
Right.
I thought that was brilliant detail, I love Endgame and Infinity War, and I think I was saying when it was just me a few minutes ago, that's probably going to be the last good Marvel movie for a while.
Infinity War, you mean?
In Infinity War and Endgame.
I think Infinity War was superior to Endgame, but Endgame was pretty good.
I agree that Infinity War is superior, and it ended on such a cliffhanger that I mean, oh my God, that was so ballsy at the time. We're going to see a lot of more super heroines in Marvel Phase 4, and I wouldn't have a problem with that if they weren't going to be so damn cringy. Like Ironheart, the girl who replaces Tony Stark as the Iron, man. They're
probably a relatively new character, and she's not all that popular, is she?
No.
America Chavez, who is even worse. She's overpowered.
They're going to make a film with her in it?
Well, I actually read America Chavez one run of the America Chavez comic, and like it's an interesting concept. Like her whole thing is like she punches holes in reality, except she doesn't have complete control over her powers, so she kind of accidentally makes holes that she goes into. And that's it. That's an interesting concept that could make for a lot of really creative ideas, but
she's
it doesn't.
overpowered.
It's just fucking nothing. It fucking sucks. Whoever the person who wrote this who wrote that shit was a fucking hack. Like it was like so it was bad. It was so bad it kicked me in the nuts and took my lunch money.
That's what I was saying. She is never wrong. She's overpowered.
It's not that she's overpowered. It's just that she has no fucking character. It's like she's just like, ooh, I'm Latina, I'm spicy.
I mean, you can make an overpowered character good. I mean, people write Superman stories that are fine, right?
But
yeah,
heroes have to be vulnerable somehow. They have to have a weakness or something that can distract them, or something they're afraid of. Or
it's like it wasn't like the only thing that Alan Moore, the only adaptation of his work he was willing to endorse was the Justice League episode version of For the Man Who Has Everything.
I've not heard that. I don't even know what that is, really.
That's the one where, like, well, in the comic it's Batman, Robin, and I can't remember. It's Batman, and I think it's Batman and Robin, and Wonder Woman go to the Fortress of Solitude to celebrate Superman's birthday, and when they get there, they find that what's his name? Mongol, I think is his name.
Oh, okay.
Where he attached the Lotus Eater to Superman.
Oh, I don't
know. What does
that
mean?
Lotus Eater is a parasite.
It's a parasite that's making him imagine that Krypton never blew up, and that he's still there and growing up.
Oh wow.
But like there's a great part where the Lotus Eater gets detached and latches onto Batman, and obviously
his parents never died.
Thinks about his parents not dying.
Yeah.
And finally, the ending of it is that Wonder Woman throws the Lotus Eater on the Mongol. In the comic, he swats it aside, kills all of them, and then goes on to rule the universe. And then it pans out to show that he's trapped in the Lotus Eater now. The adaptation of the Justice League episode doesn't actually show that, but it shows him like the Lotus Eater attaches to him, and they wonder what's inside his head, and the episode ends on like him smiling while there's like sounds of like screaming and agony in his head.
Damn. And was it an Elseworlds tale or something?
No, it's a story that fits pretty easily in it. It's just Mongol is a villain in the other episodes too, and in other comics. He's basically if I had to describe him, he's basically a discount Darkseid. He's not as powerful, but he's pretty similar. He's a power-hungry lunatic.
Well, Jim Starlin admitted that he based Thanos on Darkseid, so he's another one, that was borrowed from Darkseid because he was trying to imitate Metron on the chair, the Mobius chair, and I think Jack Kirby somebody told him, if you're going to rip off one of the new gods, at least rip off the good one, Darkseid. So
comics were all about ripping each other off. Marvel ripped off Superman for Marvel Man. So
yeah, and there's a Catman, and he's not very popular.
Yeah, they did it continuously for decades, right? They just ripped, Man Thing, Swamp Thing, all that stuff. Yeah,
I actually prefer Man Thing to Swamp Thing. I like Man Thing better.
I know you probably do. Yeah,
Jeremy loves some Man Thing.
I know.
Some, especially the giant-sized versions. I bet you love some giant-sized Man Things.
So, what is Man Thing's deal? Is he just? People burn
at the touch of the Man Thing.
Is that what? I mean, what is his power?
He instills fear into them. Anyone who knows fear burns at the touch of the Man Thing. I guess that's kind of like what Ghost Rider does, but
He
Man
just touches
Thing,
people.
they
He goes
burn at
around
the touch
touching
of the Man
people.
Thing. They burn at the touch of the Man Thing. I mean, yeah.
He just goes around touching people.
Oh no, he can fight too. He can fight. He can
Oh,
fight.
okay. I was going to say it sounds like Joe Biden.
So Marvel.
Yeah, people don't burn at Biden's touch; they just cringe.
Yeah.
So Marvel Phase 4 is going to be populated with a lot more superheroines, and I wouldn't mind that. Like I said, if they weren't going to be so forced and self-aware of it, you know.
Yeah, I mean it would be. I mean it wouldn't be a big deal, right? I mean if they actually managed to write them in such a way that they actually were flawed characters who were interesting, you know.
Authentic. But do you think they'll do that? I think they're going to.
Unlikely. No, I think they're going to probably do what they like to do, which is to say that there's no flaws. They're just going to be a bunch of Mary Sues.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's my guess.
I'm kind of hoping that at this point they realize that BuzzFeed style pop feminism doesn't really sell anymore, but Captain Marvel kind of did well enough, and
Right.
the marketing around that was based around that whole thing, and
Right.
So I don't know.
What about? I wonder what they're going to do about Black Panther 2. I guess one of the sisters will be
Right.
inherit those responsibilities now.
That's right. That's what I hear. Yeah.
I think they're gonna do that, but they still haven't made a Black Widow movie, so you'd think that would be a priority.
I wish.
I mean, they've made it. They just haven't released it yet.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I wish they would stop pushing back the Morbius movie just because they're afraid of releasing a movie about bats.
Yeah, I mean that's why they're not doing it. My guess is that he got his power from bat's blood that was like scientifically altered.
He did. He stands in a circle of bats and reaches out his hand to get bitten because they have some strange blood or something. I don't know.
My guess is he probably got probably has something to do with coronavirus research. Is my guess.
But it's pushed back to January 2022 now, and I loved Morbius as a character too, man. The living vampire, he was awesome.
It could be good. I don't know.
I wonder if they'll ever make an Alpha Flight movie.
Jared Leto has the worst luck with superhero movies. Have you noticed? He got shit on with the Joker role. They cut his role.
Well, his Joker sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but still, they cut it down to nothing, and he fought to get it restored, and it didn't work. And now Morbius is pushed back like almost 2 years. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Jared Leto is going to be Morbius?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do better.
Yeah, maybe he'll do better because that Joker, what I've seen of it was terrible. Yeah.
He has that real rickety laugh, like
he looks like some deviant art, some like 2005 deviant art version of like the Joker, like some scene kid thought him up.
Looks like a meth fiend in the future vision at the end of Justice League. That's what he looks like there.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
He looked a little better there, but it's like, well, why the fuck do you have the Joker looking like Jesus? You already have a Jesus figure.
I've heard
you had a Jesus figure with Superman. What the fuck are you? Are they trying to like make reference to that like cult that Jared Leto has?
That's true.
Oh yeah, he does have a cult, doesn't he?
He owns a military base too.
Does he?
Yeah. That's what I heard in what is it? Not Beverly Hills, but
it's like a abandoned military base that he converted into his cult compound, right?
Probably, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
It's like, we'll just make his Joker a gun-toting Jesus, since that's what he thinks he is in real life.
Wow.
Yeah, I liked him in what is it? Blade Runner? What is it, 2049? Is that what it is?
Oh, he was in that.
Yeah, he was good in that.
I saw him in Dallas Buyers Club like a while back, and I thought he did all right there.
It was crazy how much. It was crazy how much weight he gained to play the guy who shot John Lennon. I mean, he legitimately gained all that weight to portray that guy, and in Morbius he looks ripped. I don't know how he did it, but
he's got a team of trainers.
That's a commitment.
actors like used to that. I mean, like compare like Joaquin Phoenix in You Were Never Really Here with the Joker, and
Right.
it's like they look like two completely different people.
Yeah.
And
No, I
Tom
can respect
Hanks,
that kind of stuff. I like that. I like that kind of commitment. And I like actors that could actually genuinely disappear into their roles.
yeah, Tom Hanks gained some weight for A League of Their Own, and then lost
Who
it.
cares? He sucks.
Lost it all for Philadelphia immediately afterward. Though, what do you mean Tom Hanks sucks?
He sucks.
What? Big? What about
He's not
Big?
any good.
Big?
Make them
Yeah.
bugs.
I mean, it was all right at the
Hey.
time. It hasn't really aged that well. I mean, it just seems like
It
a
hasn't
pedo
aged
fantasy kind of
well.
movie.
Aged well, good. Yeah, I love that movie still, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
You should watch that back to back with Powder. That's a good.
He was in a lot of like really corny roles, wasn't he? League of Their Own. Like I think that's an all right movie, but it is pretty corny. Like Forrest Gump is like ultimate corniness.
I like
Philadelphia is again
I've never
pretty.
seen that.
It's like okay, but still pretty corny because it's very obviously like Oscar bait. Like, hey, I'm playing an AIDS victim.
Right.
I like Forrest
And
Gump.
he was in that. He was in that like shit ass. The Amazes and Monsters movie.
Yeah, he was good in that. He was good in Booze and Buddies. I like him in that.
I liked Mazes and Monsters too, even though the message was bullshit.
I mean, yeah, it's a shit ass movie, but it is pretty like fun to watch in like a bad movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like
on your sex swing over there. What's going on with that noise? Is that your sex swing that you're on there, Ben?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but yeah, his performance in Mazes and Monsters is fucking hilarious. I don't know. There's blood on my knife. I think I killed someone.
Jeez.
Yeah. He's overrated.
I don't know where you get that, boys, but it's weird how you like came together on that conclusion awfully fast.
I mean, I don't think.
No, we've been working on this for years.
We've been working together on the thesis that Tom Hanks sucks and is probably a pedophile. But
exactly.
But like, I don't think he like sucks. I think he's all right. He's just in a lot of really corny roles.
Yeah, he's like a propaganda actor kind of guy. It seems like.
I remember there were Pizzagate theories circling Tom Hanks there for.
Well, it's his fault.
Why? Is he?
I mean, taking pictures of little kids missing shoes and gloves and mittens and stuff. That's creepy.
Did he really do that?
Yeah, it's like one of his little hobby things is taking pictures of, lost mittens and little tiny shoes that were belonging to children. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like his Instagram page had tons of that stuff on there.
Why?
Because he ate those children, and it was a memoir. I mean,
He
ate them. You said
he ate them.
He used them as a cock sleeve, and then fucking burned them alive and ate them. That's and he's taking like these
a little souvenir.
Confession.
Yeah, a little souvenir.
And he's like putting it out in the world as like a sick bragging, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit! You're making this up. You're just going along with it.
No, I'm not making it up.
Really?
I'm not making up the fact that he took these pictures.
No, we're not making them. Yeah, I mean,
you got to be.
We're like drawing. We're drawing conclusions that our parody do not sue us. We don't
exactly
endorse these, but we're just speculating.
But the core assertion is true. He actually does have all of these pictures that these photographs he's taken of abandoned mittens and shoes and things like that clothing items that belong to children that are just like on the sidewalk or in an abandoned alleyway or abandoned lot or
Well, if they're
admittedly that would be that is weird. Like in reality, I don't think that's like
it's not damning, right?
No, I mean, compared to someone like Dan Schneider, who hasn't been like explicitly accused of anything, but the evidence on it is kind of piles up, like the fact that he seemed obsessed with the underage starlet's feet and the fact that one of the women or one of the girls from one of his sitcoms like went on Instagram Live at one point and was like looked like she was like doped up as hell and said something like "You ruined my life, Dan Schneider."
You were my life.
You ruined my life.
Wow.
And
Wow.
there's a couple like anonymous accusations that he would like have like extras in the TV shows, girls who were tweens, underage, obviously at the time, that he would like pull them aside and like pay them money to give them foot massages.
Who are you talking about? Zack Snyder?
Dan Schneider.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the Nickelodeon guy or
big
whatever.
fat
Yeah,
Nickelodeon.
the fat Nickelodeon creep.
Yeah. That guy's obviously, he obviously is a suspect individual. Yeah.
He is very sus. We'll probably like be getting something explicit on him within the next few years.
You would think so, yeah.
We were talking about comics, though. One more thing. Dr. Doom, he hasn't had a real good arc in a long time, I don't think. What if he took Franklin Richards under his wing to teach him how to use his powers better? That'd be a cool...
Well, that would be good. I think, didn't he already kind of like do that with one of the Richards kids? Like
Valeria, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's not as powerful as Franklin. See, I don't know.
I don't know. What is her powers even?
I don't know. I don't
know either.
Franklin Richards is like supposedly godlike, though. I mean, even as a kid, he can control all reality. I mean, I think they kind of went out of hand with that. But
yeah.
Another thing would be cool is if like one of the times that Dr. Doom had the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, if he had already conquered the universe and made the universe think that they weren't conquered all this time.
Yeah, that would be good.
That seems like something he would do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're supposedly making a Fantastic Four film in this Phase 4 Marvel thing.
They are, yeah. And I can't imagine.
Which, the Fantastic Four film seems like they've been cursed because like every single one they tried to make, it's like they were all bad.
4 different versions, right?
Something like that.
I think it's 3.
The first one was by Roger.
Wait, there's
the one in
4
the 90s.
Fantastic Four films. Yeah.
There were 90s.
Wasn't the first one wasn't that made by Roger Corman?
Yeah.
And it looks like a doo-doo.
And there was the guy named the Jeweler, like a brand new villain. And he looks like that guy from Creepshow.
Doom was in it, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never watched that one all the way through, but I mean,
it's like it's like what the latest one was like. Hey, the Human Torch is black, and the Invisible Woman is still white with blonde hair, but they're still siblings, and we're not addressing this at all.
Well, then they would be half siblings, right?
Well, yeah, but they apparently don't like say anything about that at all. They just say, "Oh, they're brother and sister."
Is that the one with Kate Mara?
I can't remember.
Yeah, so there's 3 others besides the Roger Corman one, right?
Yeah, and they can't. Every single one of them is either bombed or was like a critical failure.
One with Jessica Alba, one with Kate Mara, and there was another one I don't know, but one thing's for sure: every time that a film bombs, they're always going to blame it on. Well, I didn't get my full director's cut, realized. I didn't get final cut, and then people they'll continuously get people to, campaign for them on Twitter, restore the cut, release the cut.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like one of these, did any of those like have any like big name directors? Like most of them were probably just guns for hire besides Roger Corman.
Well, I mean, they were doing the same thing with the last Fantastic Four. Release the full director's cut, just like they did with Justice League.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I doubt a director's cut is going to save that shit.
Yeah, that looked like a turd, yes.
Was Doom in every one of them?
One. Yes.
That's not Galactus, though. That was not Galactus. It was just wind, right?
It was just a cloud, like a big cloud.
I mean, out of respect for MF Doom, they should not include Dr. Doom in any further movies.
Give him his own movie, like they did with Joker. I swear it would be it.
I mean, it would have to take it would be very difficult to do Doom, and I don't know that. I mean, at one point in time, I thought that Marvel might be able to do it, but I think they've kind of lost
Like,
their
yeah,
mojo.
like
You
if
know?
like it might be actually kind of interesting to make like a Doctor Doom movie that's mostly like a low key political thriller, like how Joker was a kind of
It's a
a
fascinating thing that he rules his own country with an iron
Yeah,
fist, and because of, I guess, diplomacy, he's allowed to continue to rule it. Right, kind of like North Korea exists.
yeah,
No, it's evil, but we have to coincide with it in some way. That's a fantastic thing that with Latveria and
yeah.
boom, and that has never been fully explored. I don't think.
No, not in the films, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see a Doctor Doom film, and there has been talk of doing just simply a Doctor Doom film, but I doubt that it'll ever see the light of day.
Imagine it's been done in the comics a little bit, but imagine the complex politics between Atlantis, Wakanda, and Latveria. What would that be
yeah.
like? The actual political interactions be like?
Yeah, I mean, like for most of its history, like Wakanda was hidden. Wasn't the same true of Atlantis in the Marvel universe?
Yeah, I think so.
Now they're pretty much blown open, though, aren't they? I mean, the Wakanda has the really super advanced metal that like stops
Uh,
sound or whatever.
what's
So
it called? Is it
it's not
adamantium? Or,
adamantium. It's not adamantium. No, it's something else.
yeah,
What are
I
you
can't
talking
think.
about? What metal?
The resource that Wakanda has that gives them an edge over everybody else in the world.
Well, in the films, I think it's vibranium, but I think in
Yes.
the comics, it's adamantium.
I think vibranium and adamantium are two separate things in the comics too.
Well, they are, but I'm pretty sure that in the comics, that adamantium is what Wakanda has a bunch of, not the other thing.
Well, I don't
Not
know
the
because
vibranium.
Dr. Claw stole some vibranium in the comics, I think. But, well, anyway,
Dr. Claw?
Irving Claw or whatever. What was his name?
Yeah, I don't
There's
remember what
I
it's
didn't know.
something called.
I thought you were talking about Inspector Gadget.